The John Lebang Show has been known to make people laugh, sing, think, scream, throw things in rage, and generally lose their minds. Listener discretion is advised.
Worldwide and out to the greater universe, you're listening to the John Lebang Show.
Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome back to another hour. I'm your host, John Lebang. We've got a fascinating show waiting for you. So, we had the Cohen hearing that we're going to get to because I'm sure you're so ready for that. We've got other things we're going to talk about. We've got some news on Queso-Cortez and what she's been doing lately. We're also going to talk about some parenting stuff that I've wanted to discuss for a little while now in our solutions category. We've got other things. We're going to get to the headlines later on in the show and maybe even some of your phone calls. Now, just to begin the show, we had the media event this week. The media event, Mr. Cohen, he goes up there to Congress to have a little chatty-do with some of our senators because they needed a hearing. And if you don't mind, I'm going to try to break it down for you. Let's do this as succinctly as possible. Then we'll get into some of the deeper nuggets of information. Here, we had a bunch of proven liars holding a hearing, and their star witness was going to jail because he was lying to Congress. First time in the history of Congress, I do believe. Because those Democrats want witnesses of integrity. Now, this person was telling tales about a president who uses hyperbole to express himself. Now, some would consider that lying. Others would consider that what it is, exaggeration. Now, this was given full coverage, ladies and gentlemen, by the mainstream Montebank media. Full coverage. So who are we supposed to believe in this matter? If you ask me, my little analysis of the situation, I would say it's a wash. From my perspective, nothing new was learned, and it was told by a proven liar. So, as succinctly as possible, this is what happened. Liars told lies about liars who lied on liars. Now say that 10 times in a row, record that, and send that to me. And I'll give you some kind of prize. Now, if anything, this whole experience was a waste of taxpayer dollars and airtime. Why would they even give this person, a proven liar, any validity by giving him wall-to-wall coverage in the mainstream Montebank media? And you know it's only getting heated up at this point. It's only going to go on right up until the election. I can see so many things right now a mile away. I may do a few predictions. This is all being done to continue to taint Trump as if he needs it. This is the problem I have with the whole thing. Why do you have to make up lies about Trump? He's got enough flaws that you could attack without having to make up stuff about him. That's why you can't believe anybody. The whole Cohen thing. Liars bring up a liar to tell lies about a liar who tells lies on liars. It's all frustrating. And all of this was paid for by the United States taxpayers and sponsored by the mainstream Montebank media. Notice how I've changed that. That's our new term for them. Now, where was the scrutiny from the Democrats and the media when Obama was in office and all the scandals that were wrapped around him? Where was the scrutiny on Hillary Clinton? Montebank. A person who sells quack medicine from a platform. Like the media, I would say the media fills that description. Then we had Queso-Cortez, who for some reason is getting all kinds of spotlight. A nobody from nowhere, apparently, is getting all kinds of spotlight. Now, she was even at these hearings, a nobody, a freshman. You would think that people who have been in the Senate longer on the Democrat side, who may have earned a position on this panel to question a liar. No, they allow her, Queso-Cortez, to get some spotlight. And her questions were basically follow-ups from other Democrats that were making questions of Mr. Cohen. I don't know why everybody's obsessed with Trump's taxes. See, to me, again, you're talking a banger here. What a person pays in taxes is too much, no matter who you are. A government that has to take money from everybody in egregious amounts to run itself and still can't keep the budget in order, blows past the debt ceiling, as we'll talk about later on in the headlines. Excuse me for that. I think I need a little drink here, so I'm going to take a quick sip if you don't mind. So Queso-Cortez asked a couple questions of Mr. Cohen that got the left all happy. And they might have been good follow-up questions. She asked, did the president ever provide inflated assets to an insurance company? Cohen said yes. Okay, so Trump lied from a liar. A liar is telling Queso-Cortez and the Democrats and the nation that Trump lied to an insurance company, another wonderful, great industry. If you think about it, the three industries that are just really holding on to America with a fist is the banking industry, it's the insurance industry, and it's the medical industry. But that's a whole other subject. Maybe we need to know if Trump lied. I would think if the insurance company was concerned about that, it would be on them to proceed with legal matters, not Congress. But that's just me. If that really was the case, bringing it up in front of the nation, told to you by a liar, I'm supposed to believe that. I'm supposed to believe that as an American. Then she asked, who else knows the president did this? And we got three gentlemen, which will probably be subpoenaed at some point, either by Congress or by some kind of other FBI investigation, maybe a Russian probe, who knows? Yeah, it's interesting how a Russian probe has gone away from Russian involvement, and now it's completely on Trump's personal business dealings, his banking situation, how much money he has, and so on and so forth. No longer is the Russian investigation about Russian collusion. I guess they couldn't find that. They found these other things, like the Cohen. He's going to jail for lying and paying off hookers. Like that's a big deal. Like that is a big deal when you break it down. That had nothing to do with Russian collusion. Yet, oh my goodness, the entire media obsessed with this, obsessed with his taxes, obsessed with everything except what he is doing as president outside of, it's bad, it's awful that he wants to put up a wall. That's their biggest concern they have as Trump being president, is putting up a wall as some sort of racist, bigoted act by a guy with orange hair. Just great. So Queso-Cortez, who I have to say, they're giving her the spotlight for some reason, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you right now, you better listen closely because you're going to look back on this in 5 or 6 years and say, wow, the banger's right on the money. And if I'm wrong, well, oh well. It's better for America that I am wrong on this. But let me tell you about Miss Queso-Cortez. She is being groomed to be a presidential candidate, and you can mark my words on that. Just like Obama, she is coming out of nowhere. Yep, Barry. Remember? Do you remember Barry spending so many years in Congress and then he becomes president? No. He was there for a little bit, 1, maybe 2 terms. I don't know precisely. But it was only to give him a stepping stone so they could make him president. Now, here's my prediction, ladies and gentlemen, and you can take this to the bank. Trump will be allowed to win in 2020. Why will he be allowed to win? Because it's going to allow the left-wing Democrats, they may take the Senate then. They're probably going to take the Senate, but it's going to allow the Democrats to just harp on this guy, demonize this guy and he's you know what he is. He's a bigot, homophobe, sexist, misogynist. You know all those terms. They're going to allow this guy to win because look at the presidential candidates on the left right now. Garbage. All of them garbage. Trump will be able to wipe the floor with all of them. But they're setting this up for Queso-Cortez to come in. She will run and win in 2024. That's just 5 years out. Mark it down, March 3rd, 2019. The banger says, Queso-Cortez will run for office, president, and she will win in 2024. Let me give you a little background on her before we get out of here. Her term will be up as senator. Here's some good stuff. This is how I know she will be anointed. She'll be lifted up. She was born Friday, February 13th, 1989. Now you know, if you've been a long-time listener, how I study numbers. And I see patterns with these. Well, I can tell you Friday the 13th is a clue. 1989. Now, if you take the 8 and then 1 together and you put it in 9, you have 3 9s. You flip them over, what do you have? Now, let's move on, folks. She's a nobody, and there's nothing special about her, except she's a feminist, socialist, progressive that can be the face of the one world agenda in the future. Look at all the attention she's getting. How did she become so prominent and get a prominent seat at a public hearing? She's a freshman senator. She's being set up to be the 2024 presidential candidate. They're going to let Trump win, and she's going to come in when Trump's done, and the Republicans have nobody. She's going to come in and she's going to be the perfect Democrat Party presidential candidate. And by then, there'll be so many people with the same background as her voting, it'll be an easy slam dunk win. Very much like Obama.
Hey, Uncle Shady, where are they going? Hey, you, get back here. The John Lebang Show will be right back.
Does your house need a paint job, but you don't want to do it? Then call Tom at Quality One Painting. He can handle all of your interior and exterior painting needs. He gives free estimates and senior discounts. Call Tom at Quality One. 313-982-2986. That's 313-982-2986. Quality One Painting.
You're listening to the John Lebang Show.
And it's so much fun. Why you keep talking? Oh, am I not supposed to? No. Oh, back to John.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to a little bit of news roundup before we get into some other more personal and more maybe fun news. Kim Ding Dong and Donald Trump's summit didn't go so well. Trump left early. He said, screw this guy. I'm not getting what I want. And he kind of did a Reagan on Gorbachev and took off. He said, screw you. So we've got that in the news. Has the left excited that Trump failed at a mission? And then, on the right, they're like, well, Kim Ding Dong, he's just, you can't work with him. So you know how it goes there. Trump, I have to tell you, he was at the CPAC. That just happened. And I'd like to play you a little of what he said, if you don't mind. And it's only 1 minute and 31 seconds, but it's interesting how he puts these things. And here you go.
Our country's in big trouble, folks, because we have to get it back. And when I look at what's happening on the other side, I encourage it. I say, no, I think the New Green Deal, or whatever the hell they call it, the Green New Deal, right? Green New Deal. I encourage it. I think it's really something that they should promote. They should work hard on. It's something our country needs. Desperately, they have to go out and get it. But I'll take the other side of that argument only because I'm mandated to. But they should stay with that argument. Never change. Never change. No planes. No energy. When the wind stops blowing, that's the end of your electric. Let's hurry up. Darling, is the wind blowing today? I'd like to watch television, darling.
I wonder who mandated him. And is that the only reason you're taking the other side, Mr. Trump? There was some news earlier how he, back in the day, I think it was in the 90s, I don't have the article in front of me, but where he proposed more taxes to the rich people. He's always had a little bit of Democrat leaning in his thinking. And it's amazing the Democrats hate him so much. There's been a lot of talk because, there was somebody who got banned from CPAC for, I guess, harassing a CNN reporter because you can't ask a CNN reporter anything because they're there to ask you the questions. You can't ask them the questions. They're only there to report and not to give you any answers to anything. So this person gets banned, and which may be unfortunate for them, but they were touting all the great successes Trump has had during his 2 years as presidency. I don't see it as well as others. I mean, there are certain things like the moving of the embassy in Jerusalem, and even though he walks out on talks with Kim Ding Dong, he's done a heck of a lot more with opening talks with that guy than any prior president in my lifetime. So you got to give him credit there. He gave corporations a big old tax cut, and well, we at the bottom have to wait for our mandate to be taken out because we were promised that the mandate was gone. but now we're finding out that it's still there one more year, and now 2019 it's gone. But I thought we were promised in 2018 it was gone, but now it's 2019. Who knows? Now that Democrats are running things, we may never have the mandate repealed, ever. Probably won't. In fact, they're pushing a single-payer health care system. Like, we should listen to them after the debacle that they forced on America called the Affordable Care Act, which didn't make your health insurance affordable, and it sure didn't make it fair for anybody. But to get back to Trump and his successes, his GOP his gross domestic product hasn't been that great. In fact, we've only seen a rise in the economy about 2.9%, which year by year is pretty good compared to Obama, but that Obama reached that peak, I think, in like 2015 or 16, 2015. So that was right at the end of the economy. So one could say that Obama left the economy and Trump hasn't improved it so much. One could say on the left, that could be a Democrat argument that Obama at least got the economy there for Trump to just keep it going. And Trump hasn't been able to improve on that. That's not me like stating that as fact. I'm just saying that a Democrat could have that argument and it'd be valid. So this booming economy that was promised hasn't quite been there. I mean, the stock market did good, and then it did bad, and then it did. Now it's like this with Trump. You're like on the open seas, just up and down and up and down. Some people like that volatility, other people do not. So the economy hasn't been that great, but Trump, who hasn't really, in my opinion, gotten much done outside of a few little things and some executive orders that can be written back with the next president. I mean, Queso-Cortez, when she wins in 2024, she can make all these executive orders come back that Trump eliminated. Maybe they'd be worse. I mean, Trump should have set a precedent, if you ask me, of not using the executive order the way he does, because now Queso-Cortez can use it like excessively, just like Obama used it excessively. But here Trump, this was like the last week of February, Trump goes out there and defends the LGBT community worldwide. He wants to give the whole world, them rights across the world in every little country, and the Democrats can't even give him credit for that, even though that's one of their major platform items. But because Trump is pushing it, they're just going to push it aside, ignore it, not talk about it, because that would give Trump credit for doing something that they like. Does anybody put this all together like I do? Trump acts like a Democrat, so the Democrats don't like that he acts like them, so they can't give him credit. And everybody who wanted him to do the right thing, the right thing, as in right wing, right thing, get it? Playing words there, having a little fun. Do the right thing. They're not getting much in return. They got nothing, hardly anything during the 2 years where Trump and the Republicans held everything. Now the Democrats run one body of government, one body, and that's the House of Representatives. And now they've been able to get raises for all federal workers in a shutdown that turned out to be in a weird way, a strike to get federal workers an increase in pay, but Trump didn't get the money for the wall, so now he declared an emergency. Now the emergency is being fought. I mean, what good is it to work with Democrats if you can't get what you want, Mr. President? Unless you think like them. You know, really, And really, you're going to get hate mail, John. I'm talking to myself now. You're going to get hate mail from the people who love Trump and think you're talking bad about Trump. I'm just calling it as I see it, folks. I'm looking at this and I'm like, I don't know how the left hates Trump when Trump, on occasion, acts exactly like the left does. And I don't know how the people that voted for Trump can be happy with him when they're getting hardly anything of substance for their vote. And he's going to win again. Trump, take it to the bank. I don't know how the Democrats can beat Trump right now. He had a decent polling after the State of the Union. I mean, it was very favorable for Mr. Trump. Despite all the efforts on the left and the mainstream media to tarnish him, he still finds a way to cut through it all. I mean, you have to give the guy a little credit, if you ask me. No Democrat presidential candidate would be able to withstand this kind of scrutiny. They would crumble under it. And somehow Trump comes out and he looks squeaky clean all the time. I don't know how he does it. You got to give him credit for that. They should ask me this, but they're going to ask top experts. Congress is going to ask top experts for a plan to cut child poverty in half. Hang on a minute. First of all, we have to understand what child poverty is. And that's really parent poverty. The parents are poor for whatever reason. The child who is not allowed to have a job, according to child labor laws, the child who has come from a home where the parent, for some whatever reason there is, doesn't have a lot of money, is in a impoverished situation. And because of that fact, the child is left in a situation that the Democrat Congress considers child poverty. Now, how do we fix child poverty? Well, one, we call it what we call it. It's parental poverty. Now let's figure out why the parents are poor. Could be an excessive amount of taxation. That's, to me, at the top of the list. The government takes too much money from the people who earn it. And with all that money they earn, they still can't keep the books straight. They're in the red. We just hit another debt ceiling. Another debt ceiling. So the argument over government shutdown is going to happen again. And this has nothing to do with Trump on this one. I'm sorry, Congress, that you can't keep your money balanced. You take in so much and you spend more than what you take in. It's not the American people's fault directly. It is their fault for electing you morons, you charlatans, to have control of the purse. As amazingly enough, the American people sent up Nancy Pelosi back to be the leader of the House, unbelievably. So that's the first thing. Second thing is personal responsibility from the parent. Go out and get a job that makes money. Maybe not have children if you can't afford it. We'll get into that in the next segment. We got more to talk about in the news roundup here, but we're not going to get to it all, so we're going to just hurry through. 2 Democrats show up at a climate change hearing, and Republicans shut it down because not enough people showed up from the Democrats. They didn't want to talk about climate change and what a solution that both sides could obtain. They only want their solution. Only want theirs. Only their way is right. Kamala Harris recently was kind of boasting about how her father had a history of slave ownership in Jamaica. That's very good. So that's it. We're going to end the news roundup right here. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we'll have more to talk about, a little deeper. And then in the final segment, we'll lighten it up with some fun stuff.
Don't move a muscle.
The John Lebang Show. Right back.
With lots of fun and excitement. Yes! Are you in need of commercial or residential window cleaning? Do you need your office cleaned? Maybe custodial work? How about some gutter cleaning? If you do, then call Pane and the Glass. For a beautiful shine that's crystal clear, call Pane and the Glass. You can find them on Facebook at Pane and the Glass.
Hey, man, it's at the bottom of the hour, man. Do you know where your kids are, man?
If you want to contact the John Lebang Show, feel free to send an email to jlebang@live.com. And if you're on Twitter, look him up at John Lebang. And don't forget to go to his Facebook page at The John Lebang Show. Banger. Now here's John.
So if you don't mind, I'd like to change course a little bit. I've been hinting at this throughout the hour. I want to talk about parenting, and some people, and rightfully so, are going to say, John, you're not a parent. You don't have the understanding of a parent. You've never had to deal with the rigors of being a parent at all. And I would humbly agree, yeah, I haven't been a parent. I've been an uncle, but I've not been able to, for many reasons, and one of it was financial, become a parent. So I'm going to understand the criticism, and I hopefully parents that are out there, and hopefully that the any new listeners that may be becoming parents in the future will take this as constructive criticism instead of indictments on their personal parenting, because a lot of times you'll talk about a certain subject and people will take it personally because the arrow just happens to hit them somewhere, and then they react and lash out at you. And you're not trying to, or at least I'm not trying to in this exercise, trying to indict anybody on their parenting or saying that I know better than them. But I'm looking at our society and where it's heading and how things are developing. And the only thing I can think of is how we're going to better this world, because I'm not a fan of what the human existence is developing into. This evolution that's taking place before our eyes is not something that I think is good for humanity as a whole, or at least individual freedom and liberty. So my only recourse is to talk about it, and hopefully that new parents hear some of these ideas and apply them in their future parenting, and any parents that haven't done these sort of things, and maybe they've done other things that have been quite successful. And I encourage those people who are listening to join in the chat room or the comments section and give us some of your pointers and tips on how to, through parenting, make society better, because I think that's the only place we have in making society better, because it's not going to be governments and it's not going to be society as in general. Society is degrading before our eyes, and the government is upside down, and everything's backwards, and nothing is good and wholesome anymore. And maybe as the human existence continues to evolve, we get past our good and wholesome self, and the innocence of being good is gone from the human experience. And I'm hoping that's not the case. But as we see with how society is just finding ways to split us up and to divide us into different communities, and we have no regard for the other person, the other thought pattern, anybody else's ideas that are not of our own. And I'm speaking as society in general. I feel it's like down to the family, the parenting in itself, to fix the woes of tomorrow's future. Because I don't have a good outlook. So again, hopefully, with that long monologue there, hopefully nobody takes this as an indictment of their parenting and looks at it as one person giving some constructive criticism on how to make society better. Now, with that being said, anybody who's going to be a parent, anybody who is a parent, from a layman's point of view and an outsider, I see a lot of flaws in the way that parents do their parenting. There seems to be a lack of concern from the parent in saving for a child's future, whether it would be saving for a future tuition situation where they were going to higher learning and they needed lots of money to take that next step so they could get a better career, or just saving in general so that maybe down the road a child wouldn't have to worry about looking for a house to pay for and get a mortgage because there was no money there to help them buy that first home, which, as most of us know as adults, that roof over your head is just about the most expensive thing you pay for each and every month. Unless somebody's living really extravagantly and their car is just ridiculously priced. They're living beyond their means, and that gets into how people deal with credit and all that. And again, this is societal. This seems to be systemic, not only in the people, but it's in the government, which, once it reaches the government and bleeds down into the people, we're in big trouble. Because if the government does it and the people follow suit, that's really bad, at least from my point of view. What I see with parents these days is they prefer to do different sorts of activities, some for the child's entertainment and others for the overall entertainment of themselves, maybe a family unit, whatnot. And these things cost a great deal of money. For example, there's a couple that's considering going to a foreign country to get married, costing thousands of dollars. They each have a child. I don't know what the situation on the one side is with the child, how they're set up for the future. But on the other hand, the other child, from what I can tell, because I'm fairly close to the situation, there's not even $1,000 put away in some kind of savings fund or some kind of trust for that child's future. Yet, the idea of going to a foreign land, which is going to cost $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, it could cost up to $10,000. I don't have those notions of wanting to go somewhere just for the thrill of it. Oh, I've been to so-and-so. I did a lot of that when I was younger, so the idea of doing that later in life, I understand it's fun. Going places is great, but if you have young children under high school age especially, and there's no money put away for them for long term, so they can either go to college and they don't have to worry about getting a student loan that's going to end up dragging them down throughout their life. And a lot of these parents that do these sort of things have student loans, and they have loans here and they have loans here, car loans, all these notes, the IOUs, The note. That's interesting. People should look up what that note means and then look on the Federal Reserve notes, and then you'll be able to tell what your money really is. But people do that, yet not save up, not put an equal amount, I would say even more than equal amount, in an account, whether it be a trust fund, a regular savings account, whatever, for that child's future, so that when that child becomes of age, they're not burdened with the worries of having a student loan or having to get a mortgage on a house, because mom and dad, which is, again, that's the thing we've mom and dad don't stay together anymore. It's a real shame. And there's a lot to blame for that. I can be truthfully honest because I came from a situation, so I have firsthand knowledge that a kid does a heck of a lot better when mom and dad are around than when one or both aren't there. Luckily, some people have other people that'll fill those roles, but overall, it's just better when mom and dad are together and the kids can grow up in a stable environment. That's a concept we've lost in general, and anybody who's considering having children in the future, especially, because we're not going to change how people act that already have kids. A lot of those people are going to take offense to this kind of conversation from a person who doesn't have kids. But I'm hoping that people take this as constructive criticism and apply a little bit of this so we can better society. And if you're not burdening your child with future student loan debt or a future mortgage because you as a parent were proactive and were able to put a little bit away each and every month, if you saved $1,000 a year for each one of your children, by the time they reach 25 years old, there'd be $25,000 at minimum, unless you put it into some weird stock or something. But if you're just putting it in a savings account that doesn't give you any money, you'd have $25,000 there to give to the kid. That could be applied to either their college fund or a home. $25,000 could go a long way into helping a person keep their overall biggest expense down so they don't fall into bigger debt and have to use credit cards for this and credit cards for that. And I don't see a lot of parents looking that far into the future. And a lot of times they're taking the kids to something so extravagantly expensive in the now that they could have done something a heck of a lot smaller, more family-based, orientated. If you want to have the family, keep it small and simple, and put that other money away into some future fund for them. You expect your kid to live beyond 20 and 25 and 30, right? You expect them to grow up, grow old, just like we all do. Yet I don't know how many parents actually put money away to help that child in the future. And I'm not talking put money in a savings account just for the family, and if they die and it gets separated. I'm talking about straight up thinking about, okay, that kid needs a college education, or that kid is going to need a house in the future. We should be saving for that, so that way they don't have to be burdened with the same things we're burdened with. Now, if you can't afford that, and you can't afford the extravagant, exciting adventures and the massive spending and all that, if you can't afford that, that's one thing. We also have the epidemic of second and now maybe heading into third generation single moms raising kids all alone. And that's something else we have to find a way to deal with. And that goes back to, and if we had more time, I'd get into it. It's real simple. And you young ladies, listen. You've got to make better choices with your men at an early age. I know the good guy is not as fun as that bad guy. But when you reach 40 and you're still alone, and this time you have kids, that good guy's not going to want you. That's an unfortunate fact. Take the good guy when they're young.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
Because the John Lebang Show will be right back.
After this.
That's guaranteed. Yes. At Absolute Skin and Body Care, they only use the best laser equipment in the industry so that you receive the best results possible. They'll explain all the procedures in detail and answer all of your questions. Absolute Skin and Body Care. If you're looking for skin rejuvenation, laser lipo, or laser hair removal, call Absolute Skin and Body Care. They're located at 37625 Ann Arbor Road, Suite 105 in Livonia, Michigan. Absolute Skin and Body Care. Their office phone numbers are 248-305-3000. That's 248-305-3000. Absolute Skin and Body Care. Pane in the Glass, commercial and residential window cleaning for a beautiful sparkling shine that's crystal clear. Call Pane in the Glass Window Cleaning. You can find them on Facebook at Pane in the Glass.
Powerful, epic music by Toothbox Roll. Life-changing lyrics come in every style, empowering humanity to finally unlock the chains of bondage. Experience the edgy side of positive music and rock your world today. From Primal to Divine, available now at sassyalternativemusic.com.
Check out the new book from Derek Shelmerdine.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It tells the story of rock and roll from its roots right up until the mid-70s punk.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Not just the music, but also the events that shaped the music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It includes the backgrounds to recording sessions, singles, album releases, births and deaths, epic concerts, and festivals.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Shelmerdine has made a painstaking effort to document pretty much every event that would prove significant in shaping popular music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Purchase the book at www.rockandrollunraveled.com. Follow them at Twitter at R&R Unraveled, and look them up on Facebook at Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
By author Derek Shelmerdine.
Available now. You're listening to the John Lebang Show, and it's so much fun.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for our fourth segment. Let's get into this study where women's brains are 4 years younger than men's brains, according to researchers inside the United States. You see, scientists found that healthy women's brains have a metabolic brain age that is persistently younger than men's of the same chronological age. The difference is apparent in early adulthood and remains into old age. The findings suggest the changes in how the brain uses energy over a person's lifetime proceed more gradually in women than they do in men. Now, while researchers are unsure of the medical consequences, it may help to explain why women tend to stay mentally sharp for longer. Does that also mean that women are less mature than men? One could conclude that by this study. In related news, there's been a fury. People are going crazy because a former Olympian, Sharon Davis, she's been accused of fueling hate after saying that transgender women should not be allowed to compete in female sports. So let's pose the question to our listeners. Do you think transgenders should be allowed to compete in women's sports? Our first call coming in from Washington, D.C.
Hi, John.
I don't think that's fair, John. It's bad enough we have to deal with all those ugly women, John. And don't they have their own Olympics?
You mean the transgenders?
Yeah, those people. Isn't that what the Special Olympics are about? Let them go there if they want to wrestle each other.
Okay, thanks for your call.
Bye.
We've got another call coming in on this topic. Shady in Detroit. What say you?
John, I have to agree with the last caller. I don't think those trans loonies should be allowed to wrestle with women, John.
So you're just for women wrestling women?
If they're going to wrestle the genderized people, I should be allowed to wrestle women, John, in the mud.
In the mud? Why in the mud?
How else you going to wrestle a woman, John? Topless? Speaking of topless, with the mud on, if you rip their shirt off, you can't tell the difference.
Okay, thanks for your call, Shady. In related news, ex-transgender man, 33, who now identifies as an agender alien, reveals that they've had their nipples and their eyebrows removed to look less human. Jareth Nebula was born a woman, but then transitioned to a man when they were 29 years old. The Washington native, who works as a barbershop receptionist, said after transitioning into a man, they didn't feel right. Therefore, when Jareth learned about a term agender, which translates to without gender,
if you prick me, do I not bleed?
deciding to refer as agender alien, and now sports a total new alien look in order to appear less human, has had their nipples removed, and sports a number of facial piercings and wears alien-like makeup, and prefers to be referred to as they.
You know,
they live.
you look like your head fell on the cheese dip back in 1957.
Oh, they live, ladies and gentlemen. They live.
You see, I take these glasses off. She looks like a regular person, doesn't she, huh? Put them back on, formaldehyde face.
One has to wonder if this alien was conceived from an alien by a single mom who liked to sleep with aliens. Lord have mercy, we have some screwed up people in this country. As we change topic, on the smoking gun, couple had sex in the rear of a police car. That's right. February 24th, a Florida cop has been disciplined for allowing a couple under the arrest to smoke, kiss, cuddle, and engage in sexual activity while they were in the rear of the police cruiser. Zachary, 23, and Krista, 24, were allegedly stealing jewelry and baby toys from a local Walmart. Quality people. When they were arrested, while they were arrested, they engaged in some hand-to-hand combat in the back seat of the police car, and the cops just sat there and watched them. Can you imagine that? Hey, we're going to jail. This may be the last time I seen you. Here, baby, touch me all over. This is one Adam 12. We arrested a couple. Now they're having sex in our back seat. Now, in a not-so-funny related story, Oregon man gets 25 years for impregnating an 11-year-old girl. This scumbag is getting 25 years. He's 28 years old, pleaded guilty Thursday to first-degree rape, and the judge handed down the sentence immediately. He just happened to be in the state after, get this is after, because he was wanted in Wisconsin for forgery, bribery, and resisting arrest. They caught this wonderful human being in Nevada. Good job, and he was extradited to Oregon. See, I don't think he should get 25 years. I think he should be dropped off in the middle of the ocean with a dinghy, just a little air-inflated dinghy. He can remember what put him there. And we have one less scumbag to worry about. Because we're going to spend 25 years paying for this guy's food, medical. Yeah. dirtbag. He's going to have it better off than this girl. He's going to have it better off than most Americans. Yeah. Maybe just parachute him in the middle of the ocean. And if he can swim somewhere, great. If not, tough cookies. That's just me. I believe in harsh sentences for things like this. Speaking of Oregon, a snowbound man survived 5 days on Taco Bell hot fiery sauce. That's right. He was out there 5 days freezing in Oregon. His car broke down. He was stranded in the center of Oregon. Snow all over the place, and he survived 5 days by eating taco sauce packages. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's something you might want to keep on hand, because apparently they're loaded with survival nutrients. And in our final story of the evening, we're going to end on a good note. And since we were talking about a man stranded in the middle of nowhere, how about we all spend 20 minutes or more each week at a public park? Because apparently a study finds that it boosts our happiness. And we all need a little bit more happiness. Need a pick-me-up? Go to the park. Want to get out there and cheer yourself up? Go to the park. In fact, I prescribe that myself, because I know here in Michigan it gets gloomy in the wintertime and you don't want to go outside because it's freezing out there. And you start getting cabin fever and you want to go out there and just get some fresh air. And you can't wait for spring to arrive. And we enjoy spring and fall, summer, all that as much as we possibly can, because we know that we're going to be trapped inside for 4 to 5 months every single year. And I can tell you this study is true. The more you spend outside, the more happy you're going to be, because you're not trapped inside a cage. Because winter is so brutal. But we adapt as human beings. We've always adapted. Climate change is going to come in. We'll find a way to adapt to that. Snow comes, we adapt. Winter comes, we adapt. Summer comes, we adapt. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to head on out of here. Thank you so much for tuning in to the John Lebang Show. I'd like to thank all of my affiliate stations that carry this broadcast. Don't forget, if you want to catch some of the archives of the show, you can go to our website, www.j, that's the letter J, Lebang, LEBANG.com, and you can get all the archives of the show. You can participate in some of our games. You can also request a song for the Banger Music Hour, and if you haven't caught that hour yet, you really should take the time, because it is really, really, really catching on like wildfire. In fact, it's the primary reason we were picked as one of the top 100 radio outlets in the world. That's a recent development, ladies and gentlemen. Now, with that being said, I'd like to bid you adieu. And until the vibrations of my vocal cords reach your ears again, I'm John Lebang, signing off from the Banger Studios.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff. Tune in again next week. Same time, same space, same station.
Resistance